guys, how you doing? Pam, aka Nunna from Exploration Generations, here to share a few reasons why I want to do the exploring and mostly the ghost hunting. First of all, I want to thank you all for watching us. For you that have subscribed to us, God bless you. We really appreciate it. That's how our channel will grow. So please keep following us. We will have more adventure as time goes on. We're very new at this, and if you haven't watched the kids video at Elbow Road in Virginia Beach, go check it out. The dowsing rods were something else once again, but I don't play with those anymore. So anyhow, let them have their fun. In any case, I want to tell you a few reasons why I decided to start this. One, I'm getting old, okay? That's true. I'll be 62 in March, and I want some adventure in my life. I've always gone for some adventure, not necessarily good adventure, but adventure. So I just really wanted to, go on with that. One of my biggest dreams right now, I guess my bucket list, as people call it, is to go ziplining, and I will do it. And I think I'm going to do it this summer at Mount Sunapee here in New Hampshire. But I'm really excited about it. But I encourage you all to get out and do something. Have fun. Enjoy life. You never know when it's going to end. Just go out and have a great time. Okay, guys? Anyhow, so I want to share some stories with you about why I ended up wanting to do this as well. When I was a little girl, I'm talking like 5, 6 years old, and this went on for maybe 5 or 6 years at least. It's hard for me to remember. That was a long time ago. But I used to wake up in the middle of the night, and I was on a top bunk bed, and we had a very small house, and we would be facing the front window, out into the front yard. And I would wake up, and there would be this little man, maybe 5 foot tall, this average built 5 foot tall man, staring at me. I'd say he was probably in his 70s. But I'd look at him and I'd close my eyes because I was scared, and I'd open my eyes up and he'd still be there. And he didn't go away. Eventually I'd go back to sleep and I'd wake up and he'd be gone. This went on for several years, guys. And we used to have 2, I guess you'd say, great uncles that lived next door to us when I was real little. And I was thinking maybe it was one of them that was coming to protect me. So in any case, he never did anything to make me feel weird. He didn't make me scared, really, other than I was a little kid and this man staring at me. But yeah, that was kind of weird how that started out. Never had anything else going, but they did have this shack next door for the longest time before it got torn down, and I'd be scared to death to go down to my grandma's house because I had to pass that. I always go on the opposite side of the road. Anyhow, moving along here. So then as life progresses, my sister had some really bad stuff happen to her, like bad entities in her life, but that's her story. And then when I was 21, we moved into this apartment in Claremont, New Hampshire, my husband and my daughter, Tiffany, who at the time was 2.5 years old. My sister and her 2 children came to live with us, and they were twins, a boy and a girl. It's funny because I went by this apartment just recently. It's actually a duplex, and I went by it recently. I stopped and took a little video of it and sent it to my kids. But a lot of stuff happened in that apartment, and I'm talking a lot of stuff. Like, you would be upstairs in your room getting ready to go to sleep, and you'd hear somebody downstairs getting into the peanut butter jar. And then you'd hear them walk up the stairs. Well, when they got to the top of the stairs, they would either have to go right, left, or straight ahead. You never heard the footsteps after they got to the top of the stairs. And even if they tried to sneak in, you'd still hear it. It was an old house. So after I got over the initial shock of this, I was like, ran over to my sister's room, and I said, "Did you just come up from downstairs?" And she goes, "No, we haven't gone back downstairs since we all came up." I said, "Oh, okay." And this went on for several nights and scaring me each time. And finally I went next door to the lady that took care of my daughter. Her name was Ann. And I said, "Ann, did anything ever happen in that house over there? Like any bad stuff happen over there?" She says, "Well, the guy that used to live out front, his name was Bob, and he had a family, and Bob passed away, he had cancer, and he passed away." She says, "And then once he passed away, his wife and his children moved to your part of the duplex, and the children held a seance upstairs, which was now my kids, my daughter, my niece and nephew's bedroom." So that made a lot of sense to me. So then we would hear the doors slamming back and forth upstairs, and I thought it was my niece and nephew and my daughter playing games so they didn't have to go to bed. So I would holler up, "Cut it out, guys, go to sleep. It's time to go to sleep, quit messing around." "The door's slamming on its own, RPM. The door's slamming back and forth on its own." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So eventually I went upstairs and I said, "What's going on?" And Tiffany goes, little Tiffany, 2.5 years old, said, "Mama, it really was slamming and opening on its own." And most 2.5-year-olds don't lie, okay? So I eventually witnessed this happening, being in the room, not that night, but on a different occasion. I also witnessed my daughter's little plastic shopping cart that they used to have, little kids had, turned over on its side with the wheel spinning and nobody touching it. I also had an issue one day, something happened. I sent Tiffany up to her room to go to bed, and I tucked her in, and I said, "You go to sleep now." And she said, "Take your nap, and then you can come down and hang out with me." So she said, "Okay," and I heard movement upstairs, footsteps. Sounded like a bigger person than Tiffany, but, she was only 2.5. But I kept hearing it, and I hollered up, because I was right underneath her in the living room. I said, "Oh, Tiffany, I told you to take a nap now." No response. I said, "Okay." Pretty soon I hear the footsteps again. I said, "Okay, I'm done with this." I go upstairs. I go in the room. As I'm walking in, I said, "Tiffany, get into..." Tiffany's in bed sleeping. I checked the whole upstairs. There's nothing up there. So as it is in the town that we lived in, I always locked my doors. Like I had the back door double locked. It had a deadbolt on it, and double locked it, and you couldn't get in from the outside. So I would have to unlock the deadbolt in order for someone to get in or out. And then the front door was locked. Well, I'd come back downstairs, and my husband was out with my sister, and so I was alone, and I guess Tiffany was upstairs in her room sleeping. I came downstairs, and my back door's wide open. Now, there's a screen door on it that was closed, but the inside door coming into my kitchen was wide open. I'm like, okay, that's not possible. There was nobody in this house, because I checked every single room upstairs, and had they gone past me to go outside, I would have seen them. There's no way they could have gotten past me, because the hallway was right there. You see the hallway from all 3 rooms. So that it wasn't possible. So I thought, okay, all right. Well, then as time goes on, we have a plumber over working on the bathroom, and Bob used to, our ghost, Bob, used to be inside of our living room closet, and it was like a 6-foot deep closet for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it went into the front apartment, but there's no way anybody could have knocked on that door from that other apartment, because it was so deep. So we didn't knocking all the time on that door. Well, if I was home alone or with my husband, I'd just say, "Knock it off, Bob," because now I knew him, and he would usually. He wasn't a bad spirit. So as it was, the plumber came over one day, and me and Tiff were in the kitchen cleaning, and the plumber's in the bathroom, and off the bathroom is the dining room, and then the front door, and the kitchen's off the dining room as well. And we hear knocking, and I'm like, this is not a good time. You know, thinking, okay, Bob, really, we got the plumber here. Plumber hollers out from the bathroom, ma'am, you got somebody at your front door knocking. I said, okay, thank you. And I walked to the front door, nobody there. I opened the door, made a production of looking around the corner and all that. And I said, must have been a neighborhood kid and knocking on the door. Go back in the kitchen. It's not 20 minutes later. Plumber goes, ma'am, you have somebody knocking on your door. I said, okay, thank you. My daughter says, Mama, there's somebody knocking on the front door. I said, come on, Tiff, let's go see who it is. Go to the front door. Of course, there's nobody there. Okay, well, moving along. What do you say? You know what's going on, but you don't really want to share it with somebody for fear that they're going to think you're totally crazy. Well, I am, but I didn't want him to know that. So anyhow, the final thing, and this went on for months with Bob, okay? He would get into the peanut butter jar. He would walk up and down the stairs. He'd turn the lights on and off, whether it was a lamp or a light up on the ceiling. He just did this kind of thing. Knocked all the time on the walls or inside the closet door where nobody could possibly be knocking. Well, I guess the final thing, now I've known Bob for quite a while at this point. I had a bunch of ladies over, probably 15 ladies over for a Tupperware party one night. This is how long ago it was, okay guys, early 80s. Over for a Tupperware party one night. And we're all getting ready to say goodbye. We're in the dining room, and all of a sudden it felt like we were having an earthquake. The whole room started shaking. So we're all looking at each other like, wow, what's going on, So I step out the front door, nothing's going on. Step back in, you can feel it. It's almost like there was a train going right by your house, right next to it, rumbling your floor. It was crazy. Or a tornado was coming or something, that rumbling on your floor. You could step into the living room right off the dining room. You could step into the kitchen right off the dining room. Nothing was happening. Well, I didn't really, know all these girls that great, so I didn't really want to say anything, but I kind of think maybe that was Bob that night too, because there was no explanation of why that happened. None whatsoever. So anyhow, that was my story of living there in Claremont. So many different things have happened. I guess I lived in Florida for a little while in a known haunted home. I'd been told there were apparitions there. I was told there were shadows there. I was told you could hear people talking in the other room and there were no people in the other room. However, I wasn't just told this, I witnessed this. So one day I'm home by myself. My roommates are gone for a week. I believe it was Christmas time. And I had come into the kitchen. Now that house was pretty dark, she kept it pretty dark to keep it cooler. We lived in Florida. So I come into the room, into the kitchen, and I see something move. Now I know I'm alone in the house. There's no other people in the house except for my dog. And so I see something over in the dining room doorway that would lead into the hallway. I look over and there's a tall black apparition. Now, I believe in Jesus Christ and I know that he protects me. So at first I got really startled. I was scared. I was like, oh, wow, because I'd never seen it. And then I thought, okay, Lord, thank you for the hedge of protection you have around me. I started praying. I said, I'm a child of the one true King. You can't hurt me. He was still there. And I said, listen, if you want to come in and you want to sit down and talk, we can do that. And I know you shouldn't do that. But I just wanted to feel comfortable, and I wasn't sure what to say at that point. Disappeared. I lived there for another 2 years after that. Never saw it again. I had another incident where one of the roommates had gone to the store so that I could cook dinner for us. I was waiting. I heard the slider open into the house, and I heard the gentleman say to me through my closed bedroom door, "Pam, we're back," meaning I could come out and cook now. So I said, "Okay, I'll be right out." Went out a few minutes later, and they're not there. Looking around, I thought, well, maybe they forgot something at the store, so, they went back. So I said, okay. Looking for the food. No food in the refrigerator, no food on the counters. I'm like, okay, all right. Well, I'm not sure what happened there, but they'll be back. So, come about 10 minutes later, I hear the slider door again. I go out and I said, hey, did you forget something at the store? He said, what are you talking about? And I said, well, you were gone for quite a while there, and I heard you come in, but I didn't see the groceries. And he said, this is the first time I've been back, Pam. I just got back from the store. I'm like, wow. Well, that same person had heard scuffing noises coming behind him in the kitchen one day. He was sitting in the dining room having coffee, and he hollers back, hey, Ma, thinking it was his mother-in-law, and turns around, and it's this little tiny old lady scuffing across the floor, heading towards the coffee pot. So there was a lot of activity in that house. Very dark, very, if you stayed there, it was a very depressing type of house. But a nice house, but just very, like, something bad was there. And I don't know. Anyhow, so those are my stories for today, guys. I hope that you saw the video that the kids did out on Elbow Road in Virginia Beach. We're going to get better. We are going to get better at this. They did a great job. I really, truly loved it. I wish that I could be there filming with them right now. It's just not a possibility. But I do want to say a shout out to my Buffalo Bills. By the time you see this, they will have beat Kansas City. All right, guys. We're praying that they're going to beat Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be a tough game. They're the underdog, but they're my Bills, and they've been my Bills since the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. So go Bills. Do what you can do, guys. Love you either way. And for you all, thank you so much for watching. I am going to start exploring. It feels like -7 degrees out this morning. I ran out to the store. I'm going to make some cashew chicken stir fry today. So I had to run out and get some cashews. And oh my gosh, it's freezing out there, guys. But once it gets a little bit warmer and I get a little bit better, because I'm still feeling not so much energy, but I feel great. I'm past it. But I do still have a little bit of problem with a little bit of energy. So anyhow, guys, I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe and share it. I hope y'all have a great day. God bless you, and we'll see you next time. Be the peace, guys.